Wow. I could swear you were going to go in for another sneeze. That would have been, if my math serves me correctly, the 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 fourth sneeze
No, it was 3.
in three, two, one. It's the Shant and Ari podcast, you guys. Currently looking up the fact that it's episode number 69. Shant, how you feeling tonight, big guy?
Feeling really good, man. A lot of cool things happening. Got onto a new social media app because I deleted Facebook and Instagram off my phone again.
Again?
Yeah.
When can we expect you back?
Well, I still post stuff, but
Trying not to scroll while in traffic. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah. A lot of cool stuff happening. James Harden got traded. I don't know if you even know who that is, what sport that's from.
Oh, that's. I hope, because I mean, put it this way. I know you're a big Patriots fan. I hope that doesn't affect anything. But yeah, tell me a little bit about this social media platform that you're on. That this sounds exciting. I haven't really leapt off of Instagram quite some time.
Yeah, we'll talk about the social media app. I'm going to hit that right now. Well, we're also going to talk about today something that we might fight about today. This book, Greenlights, that we both listened to on Audible by Matthew McConaughey. You hated it, supposedly. I love it. I got like an hour left, 45 minutes left. And I want to know what the hell is wrong with you a little bit. We'll get to that. Hold that thought. But the reason, before we get into what's the app? I forgot. For Clubhouse.
Chat room, Clubhouse. Yeah.
Before we get into that for a second, the reason why I brought up James Harden, the trade, why it's such a big deal. It's a blockbuster trade in NBA. I wish I was on a different podcast with someone who liked basketball so we could talk about it. But it's funny because the NBA season just started NBA season just started a couple weeks ago, and James Harden was like a top 3 basketball player in the NBA. He wanted to be traded from his team. So what he did is he did not show up to the practices and the games, and he was seen at strip clubs without masks, partying with rappers. And just funny that he's just like, I'm not going to play, just going to be at strip clubs in Vegas, and was caught without masks. He comes back looking fat. And he just was like, played a couple of games. And then yesterday he had a game. And then after they interviewed him, he's like, yeah, this is not going to work. I don't think this is going to work. It's just not going to work with this team. And they told him to stay home and they had to trade him.
The Houston Rockets? He got traded from the Houston Rock. I'm looking at him right now. He looks like he's like a couple of years away from retirement anyway. Yeah.
It was just funny because like just no fucks given at a strip club during COVID with no mask. Like, just great. I'm glad strip clubs are open, but restaurants. Yeah, no, restaurants are still closed. But all right, so
has Leo started working yet?
No, not yet.
No,
but so Clubhouse.
Yeah, tell me about this.
I kept hearing. Sorry for boring about the NBA stuff. I kept hearing about Clubhouse. And I don't know what just weird here and there. Clubhouse, I heard Clubhouse here and there. Nothing really major. New social media Clubhouse. I thought it was like some porn thing or something. I don't know like what it was. Like people are talking about it because there's like this OnlyFans. I just heard about that the other day from a meme. Someone like posted something with OnlyFans, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?"
I thought you'd have an OnlyFans by now. What you don't have an OnlyFans?
No, definitely none of that. If you are under 18 years old, don't Google OnlyFans. As I's Googling it right now.
Check this out. Let me see what's on there.
my friend messages me yesterday. I think it was yesterday. He's like, dude, you got to get on Clubhouse. You got to get on Clubhouse right now. get on this social media app. It's the next app. And I was like, all right. Because I thought like Twitter's falling down because Trump got banned. I thought people were like, Parlor got banned from the Apple. So I'm like, I thought it was like a freak out. So I was like, all right, I'll download Clubhouse. I'm like, whatever. But you have to get invited to join the actual social media. And my friend's like, I don't have any invites left. I'll try to find you an invite. I'm like, what the fuck invite? Like, what is this?
Why is it so exclusive? Can you tell us a little bit about what it is exactly that you do on this in this treehouse?
In the treehouse, I mean Clubhouse, it is an app. It's all audio form. There's no pictures, there's no videos, and you get on here and there's chat rooms. And let's say I could start a chat room on real estate. I start a chat room and you invite a bunch of people and you start talking about it. You invite people, they invite people, that person invites people, like kind of like a multi-level marketing scheme. And what happens, you start talking about a certain topic. You could join a chat room or you get invited to a chat room. I had no idea what it was. Like, so I'm going to explain. I just downloaded it. No idea. I just put in my bio realtor / real estate investor. That's it. No idea. I get pinged. You're invited to join this chat room. I was like, all right, let me check a chat room out. It was about real estate leads. Join this chat room with a bunch of people. I'm like, all right, I'm listening. They're talking about leads. And then they're like, oh, yeah, there's this guy, Shant in here. Yeah. It's like, hey, why don't you hop on, man? Like, what's going on? I'm like, I have to talk?
I thought I was just listening. Hey, guys.
Yeah. So it's basically that. It's a chat room, social media platform where you start chat rooms. And that's all I know about it so far. And it's fucking awkward.
So I guess the question is what drew your interest in wanting to try that? Because I know you've tried TikTok out and you went like viral. You got TikTok famous at one point.
Then I
Well,
stopped.
Lucy
Yeah.
got TikTok famous. You didn't get TikTok famous.
Yeah. I stopped TikTok because there's just too much dancing for me. Like,
Yeah, you
not a
were.
dancer.
I completely understand that. So
It's for TikTok. Sorry, just TikTok. It's weird seeing older people just dancing with no like rhythm and music. It's just like it's just not attractive.
or doing the
Just watch.
voiceovers. That's
Yeah.
also pretty awkward, I think.
It's like grow up, but whatever.
So, realistic question here, and I know before we move on to the audio, because I have a lot of like I'm gonna shit on you for this one. Um, where do you think over the next few years? Where do you think we're headed in terms of social media platforms? And because put it this way, I'm pretty much cashed out right now on social media. Like I'm pretty much just using Instagram at this
Instagram.
point just to remind people that I'm just alive, and that's really it. So
So this. So what I see happening with this is more like a networking, right? Where you meet people, you're in chat rooms, but it's kind of weird. It doesn't have a smooth, um, like you could. I don't know if you could like message people, connect. It's just chat rooms, and you just talk. It's
don't people
it
have
seems like
work?
a good, huh?
Don't people have work?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, you've seen the amount of TikTok videos out there. I don't think people work, but I feel like so Snapchat is kind of like dying off, I would think, right? Do people still use Snapchat?
I haven't used it in a couple of years, and I was like a pretty decent snapper. I mean, I like to snap.
You're not a ticker or a
I'm
talker.
not a tick tock. I'm not a talkster.
Yeah. Facebook, you're not on Facebook, right? Like at
I
all.
have my account activated, but I'm like a very flying under the radar on Facebook.
Yeah, you don't do anything on Facebook.
No, I'm a big. Well, I guess before a few months ago, I was a big Instagram guy, and even now, like the restaurant, I post a lot of stuff on Instagram. So I guess we could say my preferred platform is YouTube because it pays.
And yeah, but that's not really social media. Um, but what about um,
It is though. It really is, Sean. You can't. It's not an active. It's like saying that is like OnlyFans, not some sort of social media. Like you're just getting paid to do stripper like shit on it, but you're still engaging with your audience. It's not like, oh, like you were just on TV and you don't have any sort of
way to
communication with
communicate to the
anybody.
person?
Yeah, you can engage
Um,
your fans.
but like Twitter, is Twitter still? I know it's big, right? Because I think Twitter was kind of dying, and Trump like kind of like made it kind of famous again.
Well, the rise of like internet activism and like business savvy people needed Twitter so they could really, really understand and talk to like business executives because like LinkedIn sucks. And it's just
Yeah.
very strange. The people using Twitter are like the very, very least like social media type people. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even know you knew how to use a fucking computer. You know how to tweet? Holy shit.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, that's weird. So I could see, and TikTok I think is a fad that will go away because there's no substance, right? Um, I could see Clubhouse or another social media coming in because if these other social media platforms are going to play politics, right? I think it leaves room for another social media company to come in and kind of take over or take some market share. I could definitely see that happening.
Do you think that if like a really, say like a really juicy, if you were pursuing a really juicy conversation, you'd use Clubhouse in terms of finding out the truth about particular circumstances? Like, let me give you an example. Maybe like a guy were to go into a chat room with a couple other guys and a few other girls saying like, oh, like in this certain situation, like tell me the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like almost like a you can't you couldn't ask your friends, but you'd ask the clubhouse, the treehouse,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You know,
I
like
like that.
you go and try to search. Do they use hashtags?
I don't know. I haven't gone, like I'm telling you, I haven't gone that deep. I participated in a chat room and I was a speaker in one. No clue how that happened, but I don't know how the rest of the app works.
This is
I was
fun.
giving lessons on stuff that, but it's kind of like a podcast. I'm telling you, it's kind of like a podcast with multiple people listening, and the person could like let people like in, like ask a question. It's like a podcast, bro. It's so I think we could grow our listeners from like 1,000 to 2,000 people per episode to about 1 million.
Well, that's very wishful thinking. So I guess just to jump topics for a second shot, because I've just
Six
on
hundred thousand people on Clubhouse, by the way. Six hundred thousand
600,000,
users.
mainly Americans, does it say?
Um, it doesn't say.
Okay.
Sorry, but yeah,
Let's keep using it for another week. Maybe I'll dive into it in the next couple of days. I'm kind of interested if they have any good like
I did invite
sales.
you.
That's right. You did. You did invite me. Um so this book. First of all, what prompted you to want to purchase Greenlights? Was it a recommendation? Were you scrolling for a new book? How did that come about?
So yeah, so I've been on this kick to reading a lot lately, but I still need audibles, right? You're moving around, you're driving, and I was talking to my mentor slash coach, previous coach, and what did the post I had about the reading the books, like I had a thing about 12 books for the year, my goal, and then my coach hit me up and was like, dude, listen to Greenlights. By far the best Audible I heard in 2020. And he's given me nothing but legit recommendations. He's the one who told me on You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Just really good recommendations. So I always take, so I was like, all right, let me get on it. And I started listening to it, and it just kind of wowed me. And so I posted it, and then you downloaded it right away. And
Yeah. Yeah. What
so
wowed
tell
you
the
about
people,
this?
do you want to tell them first why you will never take a recommendation from me again, on why
I
you hate
didn't
the book
say
so much?
that. I didn't say that. But no,
Talk to
I
me
would
about the
much
book.
rather just hear from you what wowed you, because I could tell you that like David Goggins in Can't Hurt Me opened up my perspective as to like, holy shit, like, oh wow, I do that too, and like I can completely understand that. And he opened up my senses and my beliefs and how my brain works and the 40% rule and all that. So he said a lot of things that really, really just cracked open um my willpower. What the fuck did this book do for you that wowed you? I'm curious to know what part. I paid
So,
attention too. I spent a good 2 days listening to this.
so the book is the Matthew McConaughey Greenlights book, like we mentioned, and it's basically Matthew McConaughey narrating his journals, his life experience, some poems, and going through his journey. Right, like because I guess he's journaled his journey to wherever he is now. What I liked about it is, for like, I've always liked Matthew McConaughey, right, just as an actor, and just kind of and to hear how he actually is in real life really makes a lot of sense to me, right? And I just like the fact that how he's so from a young age to like as he was getting into the business was so just like no fucks given, like tries new shit, uh, like takes chances, says what's on his mind. Like those are the things that like it really attracted me, because he's just like the one scene where he's going in for the fourth lead in the role, and that he does the audition, and the guy's like, all right, that's great job, and he was like, Matthew McConaughey's like, hey, who's going to play the lead? And the director's like, well, we don't know yet. And who do you think? And he's like, oh, I think I should play the lead. Like, just very confident. He when he goes to a movie script to the movie set in the beginning, he wouldn't read the script. He was just like, I'm going to play the part how I feel like I want to play it. Like, that's so fucking gangster, bro. Like, that's just how we should all be operating. And we're all stuck in this like my wife, we were talking about like going to a job interview. Why do you want the job? Well, I really feel like it's like I want the job because I just want it. Like, and that's how Matthew McConaughey kind of plays his life, and he's just so real and open, takes chances, goes to fucking Australia just to like do it. Just that's my thoughts on it. I want to hear what your counter to that is.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not that crazy of a Matthew McConaughey fan.
Okay,
To be
you're
honest with you,
crazy about.
he kind of annoys the shit out of me with that. Yeah, and it went quiet all of a sudden, just silence, purely silence, and not a peep. You could hear a penny drop, and then wham. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, get to the fucking point, please. Because like there's 7 different ways he'll want to say something every single time.
Uh-huh.
And listen, he started off the audiobook by saying like, oh, this is not like a memoir, and this is meant to like get you in a positive thinking and all that. But it was really
Mm-hmm.
just a memoir. It was just his personal accounts for shit that happened all throughout his life. And they were just him recalling, quote unquote, green lights in his life. Things that, made him appreciate when things did flow. And when they didn't flow, he would create like this storyline from it until it did turn green. So I didn't find any major motivation from it. I don't think that it deserved the book.
Wow. Well,
I'm
is this
sorry.
because
Like
you
I'm just
never liked Matthew McConaughey? Is this have to anything to do with the fact that you never liked him?
listen, when I say I didn't really like him, it's not that I thought to myself, like, no, man, this guy's a shitty actor. It's just he never really did it for me in terms of like, okay, this guy's on my like list of favorite actors. Like I got Al Pacino on there, I got Robert De Niro. I've got I've got some, heavy hitter guys that, I can imagine if they wrote a book, I would probably like 30% of my liking for it would be due to the fact that it's them writing the book. But I could tell you, I have a feeling that you, even if they were in your top five, you're not going to recommend a book strictly because it's one of your favorite actors. Something struck a chord with you. And I think it's just you appreciating the fact that he kept on taking punches and smiling no matter what. I feel like you
Yeah, but don't you
appreciated
think
his
you
positivity.
take that? I mean, yeah, it's not about a book on motivation. I think it's more of like opening your mind up a little bit to the fact that, like, you create what you want to create and you just do it how you want to do it, right? Like, you don't have, like, he didn't go to acting school. He didn't go to, like, grow up as a childhood actor. He just showed up and was like, hey, man, like, I think I should act and I think I'm good enough and just having the confidence, and you do it how you want to do it. And I just like, that's the part you take from it, right? Like, the fact that you should be doing things your way, not the box that society puts us in.
100%.
So yeah, you do get something out of the book. What are you talking about?
What I'm trying to tell you is it didn't deserve its own book.
So the day you write a book, like, you can't say who deserves. See, that's a red light right there. You can't tell who deserves and doesn't deserve a book. Anyone could write a book. Green light.
This deserved like a 3-minute YouTube clip. Like, how like Denzel, when
As
he's
the
speaking
Denzel.
at his like
Uh,
the graduation or whatever, and like, no, you can't.
uh,
Or like Steve Harvey when he got pissed off that people wake up at 9 a.m. Like, there's people waking up on, at, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Making decisions about your life and you still sleeping. It was one
yeah.
of those for me. That book was a 2-minute Facebook clip that somebody shared.
Wow. I thought you would have liked it, man.
I really wanted to. I was waiting. I kept on waiting for these nuggets. And
But maybe because you had expectation from it. I don't know. Maybe you were hoping something. I didn't have any expectation. I just put it on. I had no clue. He didn't tell me what it was about. I just put it on, and I thought it would have been like an autobiography, right? And I was like, all right. And it kind of, that's what I thought it would have been. And it was. And it kind of showed, like, I extracted what I wanted to extract from it.
here's the deal. I read it when I was at the gym earlier doing a little bit of cardio. And it made me chuckle. It made me kind of like laugh here and there. It kind of gave me a little bit of like a boost. His like happy stories. But other than that, I just don't think. I think that the reason why he wrote was it was more of like here, I'm gonna share with you all of my life's like minor setbacks. But I don't think he realized, because he probably wrote this during the fucking pandemic for the most part. I don't think he realized that, listen, most of the shit that you wrote, who gives a fuck? You went to Australia and the place was a couple hours away from the actual city, and the guy asked you to call him dad. Big fucking deal. You spent an hour talking about that? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but most people would fucking kind of melt down in that situation and quit and go home.
You're right. You're right. And it was just his positive outlook. So my question to you is in his years of journaling all of this, do you think that at some point it was his journaling of the events also taking place? Do you think that him journaling everything caused him to also have a positive outlook? Like you can't imagine somebody having the time, taking the time to journal something and being negative. Like, could you imagine yourself journaling something and like taking the time to be negative in the journal?
No, I will push back on that. I think while you were saying that, I was like, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe him journaling turned all these events into a positive outlook for himself. But I think there's people who journal and they love sulking in their shit and they're just negatively journaling and they'll do that for years and years and years. So I think it helps, right? Because once you're writing stuff out and you're kind of looking at things and you're probably like, it's not that serious. Why am I getting all bent out of shape? Some rational people out there will turn it into more positivity.
Right.
But there are some fucking people who I think will just sulk in negativity and just keep journaling negative shit.
So I've been journaling. I'm on a 16-day streak,
Are
apparently.
you writing a book
No.
from your
Fuck no.
16-day experience?
And on top of that, to piss off my brother more, I'm not even writing. I'm not even actually penning it. It's a digital one. So like I could do cross platform. I might have talked about this
Yeah, yeah. You should do it on like a post-it, like journal on the post-it. That'll piss them off so much.
like unorganized, just fucking.
Yeah. So for context for everyone listening, your brother, huge journal guy, huge, and he has like top-notch journals, top-notch pens. Like he knows, um, like he knows his product. And it was funny because last year when I came to Boston, so years and years and years ago, I owed Sacco money, like just like a little. He hooked me up. I was like, I got you on some money. So when I came to your guy's house, he's like, hey, Sean, come upstairs. Let me show you my journal. I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. We go upstairs. He's like, oh, look. I'm like, oh, cool, man. Nice journals. And he opens up like 2013. He's like, September 7th, 2013. He's like, Sean, remember this? I'm like, fuck, bro. Fucking,
Jotted it down, huh?
yeah, like I owe you money, huh? He's like, yeah, it's in the journal. So I don't like, so what do you journal? Tell the people, like, what do you journal? Because I don't
I
think I
follow a
journal.
template, believe it or not. I've been following a very, very strict template that when I open it up every morning, I'll fill it out and I'll try to adhere to the template because put it this way, it's almost like it's like the most important thing for me to keep track of. And I feel like it keeps me on the correct path. And it
So it's
took
not like a
me
diary.
not really.
Because your brother's is like a diary. So
Right.
your brother, at the end of the day, he will write about his day,
Yes. Yeah.
things to remember. Yeah.
Nah, mine is more of like a keeping track in the morning of what I want to get done, my goals in general, my goals for the day. So let me go through it. Like I'll record my morning weight, the time I woke up, what I'm currently reading or listening to, I should say, how I felt after the moment I got up. I'll write my affirmations and I'll write what I'm made of. I'll write what my goals are in the broad sense. They're sort of short to long term goals. They're not. Oh, I want to get
Okay.
a Ferrari. It's not like a vision board thing. They're short to long term goals. Like, for instance, I'm trying to just as quickly as I can put together $50,000. So just reminding myself of that. What do I want to accomplish today? What's on my mind that I need to sort of put pen to paper on? And then throughout the day, I'll write self observations. For example, about a week ago, I wrote that I don't appreciate the employees enough. I don't tell the employees that I appreciate them enough, and I take them for granted. So I guess you make like these mini uh, strides towards
Mhm.
correcting whatever it is. Like you got to tell yourself first that you don't appreciate a person enough. Then you got to tell yourself that you got to at some point appreciate them, and then you got to at some point take action. So it's just like mini corrections that I've been making from the journal. I'll write down money I spent throughout the day, or I'll try to be pretty accurate, and food I ate. Then at the end of the day, I'll write how my day went, and if
Mm.
I could change anything about it, what it would have been. And what I like to do is, because I'm a very visual guy, is I'll take pictures of random shit throughout the day. Like the other day, my dad came over and we cracked open, almost killed it too. We cracked open a bottle of Green Label.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I put that picture in the journal. And yesterday morning, I by accident spilled. I use a pour over coffee filter. So basically, you know how it works. You
Yeah.
put the beans, you put the ground coffee, and then you pour water over it. And as it was dripping, I knocked it over. So like all the coffee and the beans and all the grinds, it went everywhere. Like it took me like 10 minutes to clean up. I snapped a picture of that, put it in the journal.
Why?
Uh,
What did you get from that like picture? Like
I'll look back on it and I'll think like, for a
green
second
light?
I got aggravated, but then I thought to myself as it happened, I'm like, take the picture of it so you can laugh on it in a few days. And that was fucking annoying when that happened. But green
No,
light.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's awesome, man. Because I was looking through my journal, and I've been doing it since 2018. Not every day, which I have been this year, and I want to stick to it. And I have like my goals I was writing down every day, what I wanted to accomplish, and then like I just had my thoughts. Like I have here in like 814, and I date everything, obviously. Fire journal, and I'll just write about like something that came to my mind, like perspective is everything. You know,
Perspective is everything. How fitting for this conversation about Matthew McConaughey's Greenlights.
yeah, yeah.
Can you
It's like don't
explain
tell
to
me.
me a little bit further? Perspective is everything. Did you used to have Shant? Of no, I can even answer this question. I feel like Shant, you used to have a very very negative perspective on things before they were to take place. Like almost you came to this realization about yourself before it became too late.
Explain,
You, huh?
explain a little bit. What do you mean?
I feel like you automatically assume the worst
Mm-hmm.
very, very early in your life and came to the realization that you were doing that and corrected it. And you appreciate when people have a very positive perspective on things, even though at times you have trouble believing that their positivity is genuine, you appreciate the fact that they're actively trying to maintain a
Yeah,
positive frame of mind, and you appreciate the fact that they're trying to do this in order to establish a positive atmosphere
yeah. Like they're
regardless.
forcing it. Sometimes they're forcing it, but it's like they're doing it to like keep it.
Yeah, it pumps you up to the point where you're like, you know what, you're right, yeah, we can do this, we got this, yada yada yada. but like
Yeah.
deep down, something's kind of like pulling at you, like, this is all bullshit. You want to fucking throw in the towel right now.
Yeah.
Like,
You want to deck that kid right now, but
right,
it's
right. You want to get fucking pissed off, or like you're moments away from getting agitated. So anyway, I feel like you appreciate this kind of shit, and the more and more genuine the positive frame of mind is, the more and more you try to absorb that, because of a thing that you're trying to not go back to.
yeah, it's
What
dude,
happened?
because we grew up. So, I mean, I grew up, you know, me and Betty both, we grew up in a negative household, right? Not like negative where we're, oh my God, it was so bad. Just like their outlook on life was just negative, right? Like,
Realist,
not like, what?
like a realist outlook.
Yeah, yeah, like good, like, oh, we can't get, good things don't happen to us. We're grateful for what we have, but like we only get the crumbs. Nothing great, only, when something goes wrong, it's like, yeah, um
Our
it's
luck.
our luck, pachte, mer pachtene, and it's just me and Betty grew up just, like it's fucking thing. And it's so weird that kind of like Betty and I, which weirdly like came together, and like she kind of lifted me up a little bit into more positivity. And then I got into all these like positive like readings and people being around these types of people. And now we're so like aware of this, and it's just so crazy where like wow, we used to be like this where something would happen, we just think of the negative first, like that's the first outlook. And it's like we both, it's good to be with someone like your partner who kind of sees that as well, because if she's dragging you down, like if Betty was dragging me down right now, I would easily fall back into it. But we both kind of like help each other. And it's just, I mean, how we grew up, man. Like it's not bad, it's not a net, it's just.
Do you feel like the old Shant comes out when you're with people that have known you for so long, and the new Shant comes out automatically now to people that you don't know or that don't know you as well? So in essence, you never let new people know about your old pessimistic ways,
Well, let
and you
me
don't
ask
want
you.
them to know your old
Yeah,
pessimistic ways.
so that's a good question. Yes, I'm the new people, I try to be, the more positive. But I'll ask you, do you feel you've seen a difference? Because when I'm around you, I've known you a long time, our family. When you've seen me around, have you seen me go back to the old?
I've seen you take a few seconds to sort of refrain from being negative,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen you process things that are happening with people you've known for a long time. For example, my brother. So now it's not so much that whatever you're about to say is serious or pessimistic, it's a joke. It's joking about something that they would have done or something that would have normally pissed you off. But like
Mm-hmm.
now you're making sort of like a joke about it. You're poking fun at something that they would have done that would have normally pissed you off. But now you're just like, whatever. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, dude, it's a hard balance, man. Like when you've grown up around, and I want to be thing. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Like it's not like we grew up in a terror. We grew up in a great household, just negative mindset, and um, that shit lingers with you, man. And if you're not aware of it, you just stay with that, right? And I think moving here is what opened it up, because now it's like everyone's brand new, And then when I got into the business, I attracted to like high achievers, and they're just so positive. I'm just like, oh shit, like they lift you a little bit, and you're like, wow, I could be like this all the time and not, take shit so seriously with everything. And so it's a balance. It's a work in progress, right? Because I always sometimes go back into some, um, you know, moments. But my coach, mentor would always say, just watch your words, right? What you speak is what you attract. So like, and always use I statements. Don't say you, don't say we. And I kind of just caught myself doing that. Oh, we always do this. No, it's I take ownership, right? Like I do this, even if it's bad. Like don't clump everyone up together, and just being around people who are very conscious of what they speak, what they say. They take their time to. It's just, man, like that fucking quote. Just who you surround yourself with. That shit matters, bro. It fucking matters.
So I've been what you just said, it was it hit home. I've been trying to also not with new people give off the sense that I have any sort of like realist or pessimist type
Because
person.
you had this like pissed off vibe to you,
When
like back in the day, like just
I
you used to
still do.
have that.
I still do. I'm not
No,
gonna lie and tell you now I'm just positive and just
no, but you've shifted, you've changed. Obviously, like you've gotten you're aware of it. Before it was just you had this pissed off vibe of you, and and now it's like I think you're aware of it and kind of working on it. Um, it's not easy, but as long as you're aware and trying to work on it, I think it's okay.
put it this way, the reason why I choose also to get motivated by other people being in a positive mind state is the power of having a positive mind state. And I can't imagine journaling something with a negative, like I never want to look back on something and think to myself like, Jesus Christ, man, you spent time in your life just being pissed off to the point where you had to write it down. Like, no, man. Like, come on. So I really like that is the one key takeaway about this Greenlights that I really, really appreciated was that no matter what, however he chose to frame it, it was always done in the positive. It was never really a bad story, or sorry, a negative story. It just
Yeah.
maybe started with something that could be perceived as heading towards a negative outcome, when in fact he was just turning the story from a possible negative to a definite positive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part where I got really, really happy about it. And something that I choose to also now incorporate. Listen, if even if you personally are having negative thoughts, don't be the dick that conveys negative thoughts or negative expectations to everyone around you. Do your part and stay positive, especially when it's it's within your team, like your wife or like your coworkers or people that you want to be doing business with, because that shit will like it'll be the difference in you failing and you succeeding is just you talking about how you think you're gonna do. So
Yeah, and this shit takes daily work, man. Like, because I mean, for me, if I don't catch myself doing my journaling, reading, kind of anything to like better myself, like catch myself slipping a little bit back to like negativity, right? It's not easy, man. But I will say, I think if someone asked anyone that knew us, and not saying we're so fucking, oh my God, we're so advanced in life. No way. We're not talking about that. But if you asked anyone we knew 10 years ago, would do they think we would have this like 50% more positive outlook in life and how we are, and kind of like just a little bit more journaling, reading? Like, who would have thought you're journaling every day? Like, would people around you 10 years ago think that you'd be doing that?
I don't think they'd even think I'd be doing that right now. I think they'd be a little bit surprised.
Well, no, like, yeah, like, like if they asked who knew you, like, hey, in 10 years, Adi's going to be journaling. Hey, Shant's going to be journaling every day, reading every day, and kind of writing out his goals every day. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's strange. It's very, very
But
strange.
guess what? It's free and anyone could do it.
And it really does keep you on track. Even if they're mini accountabilities, minor accountabilities that you give yourself, at the very least, you're you're holding yourself accountable to at least write down what you want to make yourself accountable for. Like, put it this way, Shant. Let me tell you before the alarm rings. um, so I said to myself, no matter what, even if I don't complete the first few things of my checklist, which was number one, wake up at 5:30 to 6 a.m. every day. Number two, do one video in the morning before I go to work. And number three, which was journal every day. One of these was completely non-negotiable, which was write down in the journal every morning. So the other day in the journal, I started off with, normally I'll start off with 5:59, time of waking. I'll write down my weight. And the other day I woke up at like fucking 10, like 10 a.m. And I wrote down time of waking. I wrote down fucking 10 a.m. And then in the weight, I put question mark, because I had no time to weigh myself.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I can look back on the journal and think to myself, like, wow, like at the very least, you had the decency to take a second and write down the fact
Still
that
did it.
you fucked up that day, and that day probably made you feel like shit, and you got
Yeah.
back on track the next couple of days. But when you get so lost in being off track, I think that's what really fucks you.
Yeah. And it's cool to look back, man. Like in a year, 2 years, when you look back at it, it's fun to read some of the stuff. But before we head out, talking about accountability, one of my good friends, he's a listener of the podcast. Jack, shout out to you. He did hit me up and said, hey, because he listened to our other podcast about, you trying to wake up earlier, the morning miracle. And he's like, hey, ask your cousin if he wants to, do an accountability, because he's trying to get up early as well.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you on live
Wow. Putting me on the spot.
air, do you want an accountability partner, man?
Not right now, because I still want like a fallback in case I'm like really, really tired.
See, that's the whole point of an accountability. So you
Right.
don't want an accountability because you're scared.
Yes. So right now, until I get into my groove, because I'm gonna try and start
But,
waking up at 5 instead of 6. Right
but the
now, I'm
accountability will get you to the groove.
telling you, just give me a couple weeks, all right? Just give me a few weeks. That's all. That's all I'm asking
All
for.
right, just throwing it out there, man.
Yeah, 100%. We wrap it up
Awkward
there.
ending.
Tell him I'll text him.
Adi's gonna yell at me after we hang up this
No,
podcast.
it's everything's cool. Everything's fine.
Adi's Journal, January 13th, 10,
Shot put me
12
on the
p.m.
spot, and I didn't like it.
Fucking Shant, I'm looking for a new podcast partner.
Fucking prick.
All right.
Good.
Go check out the book, Matthew McConaughey, Greenlights. Let me know what you guys think, because Adi's lost his fucking mind.
Fucking. If you want to waste 7 hours of your life, go ahead. Feel free to read that or listen to that.
And catch me on Clubhouse, everyone. In a chat room near you.
All right, have fun in Napster, AOL, or whatever the fuck you're using. Good night, Shant.
Good night, everyone.